Hi everyone, and thank you very much for watching. This is me, Mr. P, and in this video I want to talk to you about UGREEN NAS DXP4800 Plus. So let's begin. Obviously this is an empty box because actual device has been running 24/7 for past 3 weeks as my one and only Proxmox server. So first, let's talk about build quality and connectivity. Later we will connect to a Proxmox UI and I will show you how everything is set up and what kind of things are running on this device. And then at the end of the video, I'll give you my honest opinion about this device, what kind of pros and cons it has, and should you consider getting this device if you want to set up your own home lab server. So first, let's talk about connectivity and build quality. First of all, the build quality. Build quality, from my point of view, is outstanding. Everything, the shell is metal, everything is built to a high standard, and it feels very solid, very well built, high quality, and it feels like it will survive. It will survive a lot of use and abuse over the years when you're going to use this device. First thing, what you straight away can see is there are 4 bays to add the hard drives. If I'll take one out, I'll show you that for currently I have 4 times 4 terabytes of Iron Wolf NAS drives filled all the 4 slots, and these caddies for hard drives are toolless. So that means that you don't need any kind of screwdriver or screws or anything like that to load this device with the hard drives. To add the device to a caddy, there is a clip on the side which says press. If I press that like that, it will expand and it will allow me to take the hard drive out. So it's very easy to add and remove a hard drive with this toolless mechanism. Yes, this caddy will allow you to add SSDs. If I'll grab one SSD right now to show you, I have a Samsung SSD, and if I want to add SSD, there are 4 holes here that will align with the 4 holes for SSD for you to mount it. So when you add that SSD, you will be able to add the SSD and attach it to the caddy with the screws that are provided inside the packaging. One thing you will have to do is to remove one of the pins here on the, if you're looking like this at the caddy, it's the top right hand corner, and if you need for this to be removed, you will need to use a flat screwdriver. So if you remove that from here, you can attach it here, and obviously it's not gonna get lost. So it's kind of a storage compartment for this one and only pin, which then makes enough room here for SSD to be properly aligned against the holes, and everything will work fine. One thing about the caddies I want to mention, that they first of all feels a bit cheap and flimsy, but they do a job properly. Obviously you aren't going to go and start replacing a hard drive twice a day, but they will do a job. These caddies, even if they feel plastic and a bit wobbly, flimsy, they will hold the hard drive in place and it will work perfectly. So once again, if I'll press the lever at the back, expand that, add the hard drive in, lock it everything in place, and hard drive will not go anywhere, and you can put that hard drive into the device, lock the lever, and then use the provided keys. You will get 2 keys inside the packaging. I don't know where they are, I lost them, so I'll use a flat screwdriver to lock the hard drive in place. So doing like that, that's it. I can't right now open any of these, and they are staying here. They obviously, they will not prevent someone from coming in here and taking a hard drive, because they will see, okay, this is a mechanism, I need to do this and take a hard drive out. But at least this helps protect my hard drive from my little one, as he likes to come into my home office and mess around with my tech. So these will at least in some way will protect my hard drives from my son tampering with them. So build qualities are great. The caddies is a bit flimsy, but they will do a job, and it's super easy to add the hard drives into the caddies with no issues at all. At the front, we have the power button, and we have 5 LED lights that will indicate the activity of the device. They will flash from left to right if everything is fine in a white color. And if something is not right with the hard drives, they obviously will change color and will indicate which hard drive is bad. Then next to the LED lights, we have full-size SD card reader. So if you're taking pictures or something, and you can add that in and then copy the files of this SD card into the device. Then next, after the SD card reader, we have 10 gigabit per second USB Type-C connectivity and 10 gigabits per second USB Type-A connectivity. So you can plug in any kind of device via USB connection, or you can plug in external hard drives or any other device via USB Type-A port, and everything will work perfectly. At the back, if I'll swing the drive around or device around, first thing you will see, it's actually quite dusty already, is the magnetic dust cover and with the UGREEN branding. So DXP4800 will include the magnetic dust cover that you can remove and clean it, and actually it's getting quite dusty already, but it does keep the dust away from the back of the device. And this is one of the things that I like about this device, that they have this kind of very simple but very useful feature, let's call it feature, added into this device. Not like my previous NAS from the company that their name is Rhymes with Technology. They had no dust cover at the back, and I had to do dust clean maintenance every 5 or 6 months just to keep the dust away. This is very good. I give a big plus to UGREEN 2 adding such a simple accessory, but it is very useful accessory. At the back, we have a full-size HDMI port, followed by USB Type A 5 gigabits per second port. Then we have two USB Type A ports. They are capable of doing data transfer up to 480 megabytes per second. Then we have a RJ45 LAN port. This is a 2.5 gigabits per second, and this is 10 gigabits per second. And then we have a reset button and barrel power plug. I'm using in my house 2.5 gigabits per second because I don't have a networking setup for 10 gigabits per second, because to be honest, that would be a very overkill for me to have at my house, to have 10 gigabits per second data transfer. 2.5 gigabits per second is already enough for me. And if I plug that back in, this is, by the way, the cable, the RJ45 cable that was included in the box. UGREEN will ship you this device with two RJ45 category 8 cables, so you have everything in a box ready to go. You just plug and play. Speaking about the box, I just want to kind of do a side quest. It was quite funny to see my son unpackaging or unboxing this device, because the packaging was almost like a funny scenario where it's a box inside the box inside the box inside the box. We had to go through like 3 or 4 boxes until we reached this device. So packaging is outstanding. It will survive the trip. Doesn't matter where you live in the world. Packaging was top A plus for me. Everything was packed very tight, very securely. So yeah, it was quite funny to see how my son was unpacking this device because it was like opening a box. There is a box inside. We're opening that box and there's another box inside. So it was quite entertaining to watch that. So yeah, connectivity is done. Build quality is amazing. One thing I want to show you right now at the bottom of the device, I'm just gonna gently tip over because I don't want to make any bad things to hard drives. First thing you will see, where is the cover? I took the cover off just before recording this video, just to show you that inside the packaging, once you order this device, you will see these two heatsink pads. They're quite chunky heatsink pads, as you can see on the camera. And what these two heatsink pads will do is they will bridge the gap between NVMe drives and this cover. And the cover then attaches to the side or to entire case of the device, and then pretty much entire case becomes like a giant heatsink for these two NVMe drives. And it's getting quite hot when this drive is being in use, so they will definitely help to keep the drive longevity for longer. They will like work much longer if you will not add those in. And then we have two RAM sticks already added. Once the device will arrive to your place, you will see specifically the DXP4800 Plus. If you will order DXP4800, you will get 1 slot. If you order DXP4800 Plus, you will get 2 slot version. DXP4800 runs CPU, which is N100, and this is the Intel Pentium Gold 8505 CPU with 5 cores. So their Plus version with 2 RAM sticks and a faster CPU, where non-Plus version is with one RAM stick and N100 CPU. So yeah, if you order this model, you will get 1 RAM stick already pre-installed with 8 gigabytes of DDR, 4800 megahertz per second speed. As you can see, there is right now 2 because I upgraded all the way up to 64 gigabytes of RAM 4800 Plus. And this is another plus for me, that UGREEN allows you to super easily upgrade the RAM if you want. not like the other NAS device that I was using before, that they locked the RAM capabilities, and it took me over a week or so to find the compatible RAM to increase from 4 gigabytes to 6 gigabytes, even if I added 8 gigabytes RAM sticks. So basically, they software locked not to go above 6 gigabytes. So that other brand is basically I would recommend to avoid. So yeah, so the UGREEN NAS DXP4800 Plus will allow you to add up to 64 gigabytes of RAM with no problem at all. If you buy DDR5 compatible speed RAM, you just slot that in and everything will work fine. So now I will add the cover back onto this device. If I add that in, it is a spring loaded a bit. The screws are quite small, so be careful not to lose them. And the magnetic screwdriver helps me a bit add them back in. And that's it. So the cover will act as a heatsink for the NVMe drives, and it will help the drives to stay cool in operation. So that's it. The device is ready to start. One thing I will demonstrate now, as you can see, the device is currently offline. I will grab the power plug for this device, and I will just plug that in at the back. If I plug that in at the back, as you can see, the hard drive starts automatically, as UGREEN NAS DXP4800 Plus supports power loss feature, which means that if there is a power loss in the building, as soon as power comes back online, the device will detect that the power is being supplied or started to be supplied again to the device. The device will automatically start functioning. So right now, let's jump into Proxmox UI, and I will show you how everything is set up there. So as you can see, my Proxmox is fully loaded. So right now it's been running all these XC containers and VMs. I've been using around 43, 44, sometimes jumps to 45% of the RAM. CPU usage sits around 20 or between that 20 and 30, jumps back to 15, and everything just runs perfectly. As you can see, a bunch of LXC containers and VMs are running. One thing to show you that because it's all 4x4 terabyte hard drives, I set up the ZFS bolt, which is ZFS RAID Z2, which means that I have 4 drives installed, but 2 of them are parity. So that gives me 8 terabytes of storage, full storage capacity for the vault. This is where I store all my bulky data, like for example, Linux ISOs for Plex, all the backed up photos and everything sits here, where ZFS, which is called fast, if I go back to here, fast ZFS, this is a 2 times 512 gigabyte NVMe drives, and this is where all LXC containers and VMs main drives are running, and I'm using 71% of the storage. So every LXC container and VM main drive sits on a fast, and the vault or bulky storage, this is where I keep all the bulky data there. Everything runs perfectly. So one thing I want to mention about this device, or original OS that was installed into this device, is that the device arrived with UGREEN NAS OS, and I played with that NAS OS for about a day or so. And my overall opinion about that OS is that it's okay. It's usable, it's okay if you want to back up files, create some users. The users can upload the files from their computers, from their phones. It will work fine. If you want to start using this device with original OS as your home lab server, this is where it's kind of falls short. It just felt a bit clunky setting up the VMs and Docker containers. It's not a lot of configuration there. It just didn't felt that the NAS OS is built to store data. And then kind of as an extra feature was attached is the VMs and the Docker containers. So for just a general OS use, original NAS OS will work fine for you. If you want to go do something a bit more than just storing some files, the NAS OS probably will not be suitable for you, and you can have freedom to install any OS you want. And this is a big plus for me to UGREEN, that they're allowing you to install third-party OS. And that's what I did. I installed the Proxmox. As you can see, Proxmox OS is running on this UGREEN NAS. Proxmox OS installation process was easy. One thing was a bit of a clunky is that you need to press Ctrl and F12 same time at a specific moment just before UGREEN logo shows up on the screen. Because this device at the back have a HDMI cable, just plug in that into a HDMI monitor, plug in the keyboard and a mouse to UGREEN NAS, and just keep smashing Ctrl F12 until you finally hit that specific mark to get into a BIOS. It took me up to 4 attempts to get that done. So it was a bit of annoying to make sure that I press the button at that specific moment, but you just do it at once. It's not like you're gonna start installing OS every week or so. So that was a bit of an annoyance for me, but once I am in the BIOS, one thing or most important thing you need to do if you want to install third-party OS is to disable the watchdog. Watchdog on this device, what the watchdog will do is it will check the heartbeat of original OS, UGREEN NAS OS. If the heartbeat fails, it will automatically restart the device. I do believe Watchdog will do a checks every 2 minutes or 5 minutes. Don't quote me on that. I think it's 2 minutes or 2 minutes plus. And like I said, if original OS stops responding or something, just heartbeat fails, Watchdog will restart the device in hope that OS will start functioning again. So if you're installing overwriting the original OS with a third-party OS, like in my case it's Proxmox, Watchdog would go and restart the device every X amount of minutes in hopes that original OS will come back. Another thing I forgot to mention while we were talking about the drives and etc. is that besides 4 drives at the front and 2 NVMe drives at the bottom, there is a third NVMe drive deep inside. This is where UGREEN NAS OS is installed. So we have 2 options. If you want to install third-party OS, you just disassemble the device and take the NVMe drive out and add the new one in where you can install third-party OS, or you just keep the original NVMe drive in there and just overwrite UGREEN NAS OS if you want. You can download UGREEN NAS OS installation media from UGREEN NAS official website if you want to go back from the third-party OS like Proxmox or Windows. I decided just to overwrite that OS because I think for my use case, Proxmox is much better and will be much more functional for me to use as my home lab OS instead of using the original NAS OS that was installed in there. Another thing, while I can hear the drives doing some noise, is that my previous NAS that I was using before, the one that rhymes with technology, our outer shell was built out of plastic. I'm not sure if it's because of that, but it was very noticeable when the hard drives were doing heavy tasks. It was very noticeable. It was making noise that is like really noticeable noise that the hard drive are doing something. With the UGREEN NAS DXP4800 Plus, I'm not sure if because it's a metal or the way the CAD is designed or the way everything is mounted and attached, I do hear the hard drives are making noise, but I need to really try to listen for it. Where on the previous NAS, it just was constantly ticking in the background. Where on this one, I do notice that the hard drives are doing something, but I need to actually try to listen for that. If I'm ignoring this, it just doesn't matter. It just I can't hear the hard drive going. Where on the previous drive, on a previous NAS, doesn't matter if you're ignoring or not, you still hear the hard drive making the noise. So back to Proxmox. So Proxmox installation on the UGREEN NAS was perfect. You just make sure that you set up the USB key to boot in sequence at the first location on the first in boot sequence, boot into Proxmox installation media, follow the on-screen steps, and everything is installed in like less than 5 minutes, and you're ready to use your Proxmox OS. And I've been using this for past 3 weeks now, more than 3 weeks for sure, and it's been running perfectly. While I was migrating all my stuff from Proxmox cluster into this setup, and I think I need to do a separate video on why I went from cluster back to single. I think I need to do a video just to tell you why, the reason behind it. But yeah, everything I decided, instead of using one single VM with all the Docker containers in there, I decided to migrate all the containers into separate LXC containers. So every single LXC container runs a service, or runs a service as straight away installed into LXC container OS, or runs a service which runs inside the Docker inside the LXC container. It's just the way everything is set up, or the way I set up this. As you can see, there is still a VM with the name Docker. This is this original VM that still contains some of the things that I need to take it out of it. But overall, everything runs perfectly. Back to Galaxy and summary, as you can see, everything runs no problems at all. It's been running perfectly for 3+ weeks. I had no issues at all with any kind of connectivity, functionality, nothing. Everything just works straight away out of the box with no messing around. So what is my opinion about this device? If you have a home lab server or you're starting to have a home lab server. And specifically, if you live somewhere in some country where, like, for example, I'm from UK, and electricity prices are stupid. So if electricity prices are ridiculous and you don't want something very heavy, something very power demanding to run, I think this device is for you. If I right now connect to my home assistant, this is right now running on this is power monitoring my Galaxy, which is this NAS, the Galaxy usage. And sorry about that, I forgot to change the camera. Anyway, so as you can see, it's using around 49 watts right now. It's jumped to about 60, 70 when everything is starting, but it sits between 40, 50, sometimes touching 60 watts of power. So this one device alone is using less power than my entire Proxmox cluster of mini PCs were using before. So it's more power efficient for my use case. So it means less electricity usage. It means less electricity bills I need, or electricity bills will be less than I should pay. So win-win for me. So this device, back to my thoughts about should you get it. If you're setting up a home lab and you really want to have a power efficient device, everything in one place, and just work out straight away out of the box, I think this device is for you. If you have, for example, mini PC and a Raspberry Pi or something running, and you starting to be, let's say, short on storage, free space, I think this device is for you. A year ago or so, I said to myself that 1 terabyte of storage will be enough for me. 2 months after that, I said to myself that 2 terabytes of storage will be fine for me. A couple of months after that, I said to myself that 4 terabytes of storage will be fine for me. And here we are right now. I'm sitting with 4 times 4 terabytes of hard drives and 8 terabytes of usable space. And I think that will be full in about a couple of months, a year or so from now. So think ahead. If you have a home lab server and you want to upgrade, just think ahead a bit and get yourself DXP4800 Plus. That will allow you to add as much storage as you want. You can add 18 terabytes in each of these slots, and you'll have 4 times 18 terabytes of storage. Then you combine them, you have 36 terabytes of storage, or even more, depending on your RAID configuration. So UGREEN NAS DXP4800 Plus is a perfect device for my home lab, and I think it can be a perfect device for your home lab too. Anyway, all the information that you need about this device, or more information about this device, you will find all the links in the description just below the like button. And like always, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.